Okay, I'm going to show you this prong. I have fitted this for Ginger, so it's fine the way it is, and I've sent home the extra prongs with you so you have them as she grows. When you go to put the prong on, the collar on, have it shaped like this, in that this ring here is called the dead ring. That goes at the top. The ring at the bottom that spins, that's where your leash goes on. So you want to make sure that this is nice and organized before you try and put it on Ginger. You don't want it to end up twisted. So when you're putting it on, you end up with something along these lines where this is all twisted up. So make sure it's nice and even, nice and organized before you put it on. When you put it on, you're going to go under her neck and over the top, and the prongs just fit together just like that. Okay, they come out, just push it out, give it a little squeeze, and it pops out. Put it back in. I put one hole in, I squeeze it a little bit, put the other hole in, push them together. Make sure that you have both prongs in. It's very simple if you do it quickly or without looking to end up with one in like that, and you think you've got it hooked up properly, but it's not. Okay, it's loose like this. That makes it very easy to slip out. So that's going to be putting it on and off of Ginger. Never slip it over her head. So never have it done up like this and try and slip it over her head. That's not how they work. You undo it, put it over her neck, put it together again. Practice this just sitting on the couch tonight before we even try and put it on Ginger. Practice opening and closing it and opening and closing it. You don't want Ginger to get really frustrated with you while you've got it around her neck and you are trying to find the holes and you're trying to figure out how to do it. Get fairly comfortable with doing it when it's not on her before you put it on her. Okay, so that's putting on and off the prong collar. Okay, I've put the collar on Ginger. So here's her flat collar. You can just leave that on her. Put the prong collar ahead of it. So the prong collar sits under her ears, and then her flat collar sits behind that. So I've done it up here, but what I want to be able to do, come here, sweetie. What I want to be able to do, stay, is just spin it around a little bit. Sorry, that's a little awkward for me, but it's snug enough, but it's loose enough that I can move it around her neck, because I want the part where I hook the leash onto to be at the top. I don't want it down at the bottom. Otherwise, when I'm correcting her or if she's pulling, I'm going to be kind of torquing her neck. So I want that up at the top, just like that. You can cut these tags off, obviously, and then just hook her leash onto the spinny one. Now, I've also sent with you a little clip like this. I don't care what you use. This is just what I picked up to show people. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this. Remember in the last video I showed you what the dead ring was? I'm going to hook this, bear with me 1 second, to her dead ring. I'm going to hook that to the dead ring, okay? And then I'm going to hook it to her flat collar. Now, that way, if for some reason this prong collar opens, there, see how it's hooked up to both? Now it's on the dead ring, not the twisty one where her leash goes onto. Hi, Ginger. It's on the dead ring. If for some reason that prong collar opens while you're out with her, she's still attached, you are still attached to her flat collar, so she can't go anywhere. That is going to negate the purpose of this harness. You don't need it. You're going to be connected to her flat collar and her prong collar, so you're double whammied in there in case anything fails. Again, I don't care if you use this little green thing. You might want to come up with something a little bit stronger. It's totally up to you, but I recommend that you use that. Thank you. Okay. Your last step is to get used to using the prong collar. I've been working with Ginger on it. She's doing really well on it, but having said that, she's still brand new to this, so you want to really practice. I do not want to do any heavy pulling or popping or correcting on this at this point, because she's still learning to understand it. The problem is going to be you guys just muscle memory wise are really used to hanging on tight, pulling her back when she pulls. You have to consciously get rid of that and really think about having a nice, easy, light hand. So if I'm walking with her, Ginger, let's go, baby. If she pulls ahead of me, I can do gentle, good girls. I hardly have to put anything on that at all. And she feels a little pinch of the prong collar and she comes with me. Ginger, good girl. Good. Sit. I can do it there. Well done. So practice walking around your living room. Practice someplace where there's not a lot of things that are going to freak her out or distract her, because then she can kind of focus on what she's doing and you can focus on what you're doing. Practice like that first, then take it into something with a little bit more distractions, head outside, whatever the case may be. We walked around this little apartment for quite a while with it on at first just to get her used to it. Ginger, let's go. Good girl. And before I took it outside, and she, like I said, she's doing very well with it. Good girl. Good girl. I'm keeping the leash short. If I give Ginger tons of leash like this, and she decides that she's going to pull ahead or even run ahead, she's got quite a bit of leash that when she hits the end of the leash, she's going to get a really big correction on that collar. And then it's going to take a lot more for me to bring her back to me because she's so far away. Whereas if I keep the collar, you can see where my hand is, and I mean, she's not got very much leash there at all. The clasp just resting nicely on her back, so she's not, right? I'm not pulling up like that or anything. It's just resting nice. But if I need to, everything I do is the teeny tiniest little movement. And you can see it closing. That's all she needs, okay? That's all she needs to respond. So keep your leash nice and short. Take some practice with this. It's honestly, it's not rocket science. It's you getting a feel for it, and it's helping Ginger through the process. One last thing, please don't mind my slippers on the floor. My feet get cold in here. Please don't be alarmed if you're walking along and Ginger's doing great and either something spooks her or something she overreacts to, or whatever the case may be, and she pulls really hard on the prong collar. A lot of dogs do that when they first get into a prong collar, when they're first learning to use it. And that is because when the collar is just sitting on her neck like it is in there, like right now, it's just sitting there. It doesn't really feel like anything. It feels like any other collar sitting on her neck. So quite often, when they're getting used to this, they forget that they're wearing it, and she will do a behavior that she used to do because she forgot that there was going to be a consequence to it. So let's say she runs to the end of the leash because for whatever reason, she's going to hit the end of the leash. She's going to get a big correction on her prong collar. She's probably going to scream, okay? No, it did not feel good. It did not hurt her. There's no injury from it. It probably scared her because it was very unexpected. And no, it didn't feel comfortable. Don't panic. Take all the pressure off the prong. Go up to her, tell her, you're fine, you're a good girl. That was a dumb thing you just did. Now let's carry on with our lives, okay? Don't make a big fuss over it. Just take the pressure take the pressure off the rest of the leash, and then just move on with what you were doing, and she will be totally fine.